Welcome in to Brad and Mike's Bears Autopsy. I am Mike.
I am Meatball Dan.
Sitting in for the, I want to just call him the vacationing Brad, but I know that's not the case. So whatever the case is, this is an autopsy that I thought we'd be going this route. And it's kind of unfortunate. However, I said it from the get-go that we were going to be staring at a Bears loss following week 3. And I hate to say I was right, but I was right.
Well, yeah.
And I believe you said it. I believe you said the Bears were going to win this one.
I thought so too.
Well,
I mean,
clearly.
It was sad, and solely on the Bears. They played like crap.
Agreed.
But, you know, I mean, if we start looking at it, there's a lot of things that went wrong in that game. Well, I would like to call out the officiating in that game to start with.
Meatball Dan. Early and often, it's Meatball Dan, kids. Well, let's take a look at it from the different phases to kind of use a term. 27-17 final score. Bears never really... somebody on Twitter actually said this during the game. I was following live tweeting with several Bears fans. You can follow me at GOVT Fromage, Fromage on Twitter. And just watching the feelings and the game develop, somebody flat out said, this is the most lopsided 7-0 game I've ever seen.
In the first half or the first quarter, I would say so.
But
that was they came out and they just trounced them.
They
walked all over them.
The Packers couldn't get down the field fast enough every time they got the ball on offense.
You know what that looked like to me?
Go ahead.
NFC Championship game.
Funny you should say that, because Richard Roper at the halftime tweeted out that he didn't want to watch this movie again. And
he was right. Like identical.
It was like a cat toying with a mouse that it caught. Hey, I've got you, and you really can't do anything to get out of what I want to do to you, and you're just going to have to take it and like it, is pretty much what Green Bay just said to the Bears last night. I mean, Green Bay owned that game from the get-go, and the only positive thing that I saw anywhere online was that it might be raining, so that'll slow the Packers down. And since you didn't get the rain, well, nothing seemed to slow the Packers down. Certainly not the Bears' defense. I mean, they had a couple great plays here and there. I mean, Brian Urlacher, once again, another fantastic play from a guy who, according to everybody, his best years are behind him.
Yeah, right. What was it, 2 years ago? He's done. He's too old. Get rid of Urlacher. Trade him while he's got some value.
Thank God they got Hillenmeyer. Whoops. We had a Lance Briggs sighting.
Yeah.
Without a Lamborghini and in the picture.
Henry Melton's a monster.
I can do without gentlemen on the team with the last names of Williams and Webb.
Oh.
And the Bears were their own worst enemy yesterday.
They were.
I mean, Johnny Knox falls down on a play. And...
Hey, did somebody forget to tell Devin Hester that you are not a good enough receiver to get in a fight?
Well, forget that. Did somebody not tell Devin Hester, you're in a key divisional matchup, you can't afford to get into a fight?
How about the false start? He's a receiver and he pulls a false start. Just watch the ball.
You as the Bears, you have a player in Devin Hester that has to be lined up by the quarterback, by the other wide receivers, by running backs, by linemen, by coaches, each and every time he's on that field. What makes you think on a trick play where you suddenly drop into the Wildcat that he's going to be able to figure that out?
Was it Troy yesterday, or was it Buck that said, well, Might have to look at that one next week.
I can't believe it. But Johnny Stonehands Knox. I mean, seriously? That's a ball a fourth receiver catches.
There's no explanation for it. Besides just sitting there going ahead and firing the entire offense today. I don't know what else you're going to do. I mean, what are you going to do? You got Gabe Kareem's injured. You need him back. That's evident.
Well, right.
Lance Lewis is injured. You need him back. I mean, if you're going to go back to the way it was with the Falcons, you need those guys back. There's no other way around it. And you need Earl Bennett back because Earl Bennett's the only one that seems to catch a ball on that offense.
Well, him or Forte, who's leading the team in receiving.
Right. Oh, and by the way, that was really good of our offensive line to do some run blocking yesterday, wasn't it?
For all 4 yards.
Right.
Second worst Bears offensive rushing production in team history.
But they had a great pocket for Jay.
I will give the patchwork offensive line. They actually did a pretty good job protecting Jay most of the game.
Jay needed to calm that ball down a couple times too.
Well,
I mean, he's not as innocent as.
Well, but there again, here you, Brad, and I have had this discussion countless numbers of times. You have an all-star caliber quarterback who's trying to make do out of the shit that Jerry Angelo has given him.
True.
I mean, Jerry Angelo is busy telling the media, well, we've got good receivers in Hester and Knox and, Dane Sanzenwaddle. No, you don't.
Well, actually, Sanzenbacher's got better hands than Knox does, it looks like.
Oh. But I mean, he went out and brought in Roy Williams, and Roy Williams looks like absolute garbage.
Yep.
I mean, we're 3 weeks in, and I'm done with Roy Williams. Brad was done with him in the preseason. I at least said, well, I'm going to stick it out a little bit and see maybe there's a little something left.
Yeah.
Well, that should be your hookup. That's your at one time elite wide receiver, and even that was, so elite. He wasn't the truth.
Last season I think we talked about Iron Man football, didn't we? At one point,
we did that. The Bears should just dress
I'm serious.
the half the roster, and they should play both sides of the ball. And you know what? And after yesterday,
Urlacher's a receiver.
Brian Urlacher should be a receiver on this team,
hands down.
He would not be any worse than the shit that they put out week after week.
And if you really want to truly use Devin Hester on offense, I say you get Patrick Manley as the long snapper. Line him back up about 15 yards back. It snapped the ball to him like it's a punt or a kickoff.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, it's got to work to a point at some point, right?
It can't be any worse than what they have going.
It can't be.
And if the offensive line isn't going to block, if you give Jay at least a 15-yard head start, he'll be fine. I mean, seriously, Jay threw two balls. The one to Knox, where Knox fell down, and the Devin Hester no call.
Oh, that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous.
That should have been a call.
That was
call. What, 35 yards interference?
At least.
And they ended up and we're going to give them a gift. We're going to give them 5 yards
on the next
and
play.
A first down.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that was ridiculous.
Devin Hester, and again, this is a guy who doesn't run routes well. He doesn't have good hands. He's got issues at the wide receiving position, but he turned Charles Woodson around, one of the best defenders in that Packers secondary. Woodson was lost.
He spun him around.
That was all Woodson could do to keep Hester from catching that ball. And however they didn't call that play, I'm still flabbergasted.
Well, and here's the thing. This is what takes hey, whatever. It's the Bears fan in me. I feel conspiracy theory, but this goes back. That is blatant. Everybody saw that the fact that was pass interference. The entire stadium, everybody on TV, everybody saw it was pass interference. How do you not throw that flag? Because when that ball is caught, Hester's gone.
Yeah, but now this is the realist in me. You know why that flag wasn't thrown? Because it's Devin Hester. And he doesn't have the luster of a top wide receiver to get those type of calls. Now, I mean, granted,
that's not right.
I agree. I mean,
no matter how crappy you are as a wide receiver in the NFL, a penalty's a penalty.
I understand that, but just like in baseball, you get pitchers who get a strike zone different than the width of home plate and from the knees to the shoulders. I mean, Greg Maddux was notorious for getting a wider strike zone than other pitchers, but that's because it was Greg Maddux. Rookies come in and they could be hit in the strike zone and they still don't get the right call. So I don't tell me that stuff doesn't go on. I mean, we know it does. I mean, and whether it's vindictive toward the team and you know the whatever referee was there, he's a Packer fan, or he just doesn't like the Bears, or you know somebody set him off and that team is never going to get calls with that referee. I mean, that stuff does happen. I used to work in professional sports, and I've seen it where you have referees who they have a vindictive nature to them, and no matter what your team does, no matter how blatant and how obvious, they will not give you that call. They make you earn 110% when you should just be able to do 100. So, I mean, it does happen. I'm not, again, that play alone I wouldn't say necessarily showed favoritism. The play I will, though, say made me question a lot of stuff was the greatest trick play in this season and possibly Bears history.
You know you'll see that again.
I hope so.
That was great.
That you fooled the camera guy, the announcers.
Everybody thought that ball was in Hester.
There was two people. If you watch the replay, two people knew where that ball was. Mason Crosby and some other random Packer that I didn't pay attention enough to see his name. But you know, all those Packer players were running downfield, going after Hester, just watching Devin Hester, not looking up, looking at Devin Hester. And you know Mason Crosby's going, "Hey, you guys, I kicked the ball to the left, not to the right." And they're going, "Shut up, little small fry. We don't talk to you.
You're just a kicker.
Big dumb kicker." and everybody went to the right. And there was Mason Crosby, and there was Johnny Knox, and there was Corey Graham, and there was a yellow flag. And when they said there was a flag, I scratched my head.
Right.
And went, a flag? But nobody was on that side of the field.
Right.
And then they show the replay. And the Bears haven't been able to find the player.
And wasn't it
Fox hasn't been able to find the player.
They were looking for number 29?
Well, I guess they threw the flag and said 21. And then I guess somebody said, well, wait a minute. There was nobody around 21, and they went, maybe it was 29. As if they had just, messed up the last number or a digit. Well, there's no 29 on the roster because Chester Taylor isn't there.
Right.
So now who was the penalty? I mean, I don't think, but now the conspiracy theorist in me, I don't think that was a vindictive play against the Bears as much as it was the Gamblers, because that's who that play hurt more. That line was 3.5 to 4.5, depending on who you saw. The Bears score that touchdown and kick the extra point. That game, or even if they go for 2 and succeed, that game's a 3 or a 2-point game. They cover the spread.
Right.
Because if Green Bay gets the ball back on the onside, they kneel.
Right.
And if the Bears miraculously get it, they'd probably go offsides 3 plays and they would end up having to punt. But I that was ridiculous. And I'm not.
That whole game though, whole game with officiating was brutal to begin with. I mean, there was calls they should have called on the Bears and they didn't call. It was brutal.
But okay, so
I told you in the beginning of the season,
right,
that officiating was going to kill this NFL season across the board.
correct,
And it really is. I mean, all these NFL games we've been watching here and there,
right,
the officiating is horrible.
Well, but I also think what hasn't helped was you went into an off season where the players and the officials didn't get to have that full off season, the full training time, the full everything. And I think you're seeing players and officials not really grasping new rules yet, and tweaks and changes to some of the rules. I mean, how many quarterbacks have you seen? I mean, and Michael Vick will tell you it's every play he's ever been involved in, where you see the quarterback on the ground and a guy or two getting an extra lick in now, because we've kind of gone back to that judgment version of roughing the passer.
Yeah.
I mean, last year you had guys, the Bears did it, where they grazed the helmet. Julius Peppers grazed the helmet of a quarterback, and it was 15 yards.
Right.
Now it's, that was incidental. Incidental? Why is my quarterback on the ground and two guys laying on top of him when he got rid of the ball well before those two were on top of him?
Vick's got a broken hand, doesn't he?
No. The MRI results came out today. He's got a bruised hand. No fracture. So,
Anyways.
but again, you said that the officiating was going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
I said there was going to be a ton of injuries, which there have been. Kenny Britt tore the ACL and the MCL.
Well, that's conditioning though.
But
you haven't had an off season.
They didn't have a true NFL off-season conditioning program. You can, again, you guys, these NFL players want to talk about, hey, we got together and we all worked out and we all did, weights and we lifted and we ran and we did, Drew Brees is organizing the Saints and all this other shit. But you don't have NFL conditioning. It's a different level of conditioning. It's not just working out and lifting weights. Because if that's the case, every guy that's got a weightlifting program in prison should be NFL ready when they walk through the door. I mean, that's essentially what. Oh, well, they lift weights all day, so they must be NFL ready. Well, bullshit.
Right.
So, like I said, I'm not 100% down on the referees. I'm not saying that they cost the Bears. I will say that they did cost the Bears that last play, and possibly the Hester play. But again,
well, I mean, don't get me wrong. The officiating is probably like 30% of that game. Yeah. The other 70% is solely on the Bears offense. I mean, that was their game to win. They had that game. The defense brought them back in the second half of that game.
Right.
They had nothing but to win that game. And they drew penalty. What was the one series we went for 1-33?
Well, that was after
first and 33.
That was after that key interception late in the game.
Right.
The Bears get an interception. They get a break in this game.
They're going to come back and have within 3 points.
They were on what did they catch the ball? It was like around the 40.
Yeah.
They had 60 yards to go for a touchdown. And it was penalty after penalty after penalty after penalty before they even got a play off. It was 1st and 33, and then we went right back to Bears football, and it was here, Matt Forte, run the ball, run. The Packers have been locking in on your running game all game long
because there's only one part of that offense that's good, and that's Matt Forte, and. Of course, the Packers are going to key right in on number 22. Why not?
Well, what else are they?
Right. You don't have to worry about anything else.
They're not worried about Khalil Bell.
No.
They're not worried about Marion Barber.
No.
They're not worried about anything else in your offense.
Right.
I mean, all they have to do, I didn't see any double team the entire day on any of those wide receivers, and the Packers were able to shut those guys down.
Right.
I mean,
well, and look at what the double team you see, and. Kellen Davis being as bad as he is, that's the reason why he was wide open and Cutler was able to toss him the ball and he was able to march it for a touchdown.
Right. The Packers said, this guy ain't going to catch shit. This guy couldn't catch a cold.
Right.
And,
I mean, the defense in that second half of the game was just stellar. It was like watching true Bears defense football. And Aaron Rodgers, he was running scared of that whole that front.
But I said this in our first show this season. I told you that Aaron Rodgers has the ability, A, and the weapons, B, to make things happen.
True.
Jermichael Finley is going to the Pro Bowl based on that game.
Yeah.
How does that guy stay that open? I mean, granted, I don't want to seem ignorant. You were playing with a patchwork secondary.
Well, what was it?
It was Merriweather and Craig Stelz.
What was at the beginning of the season? What was the three things we said were going to be a problem? Offensive line, wide receivers, and the secondary.
Right. And,
so,
right.
I mean, and look what's coming true. Wide receivers, offensive line, and secondary.
Well, but two of those three things have been because of injury.
Yeah. The secondary is hurting without Chris Harris.
Right. And Gabe Carimi getting hurt.
Yeah.
Because that was your plan to revamp the offensive line, was drafting Gabe Carimi.
And it worked.
It worked.
In the Falcons game.
Right, it worked. Since Carimi's been out, this offensive line is last year's.
Right.
I mean, yeah, the players have kind of shifted. You brought in Spencer and, okay, fine. But this is last year's piss poor porous offensive line.
I really.
Oh, you guys want to sack Jay Cutler? He's right over there.
Chris Williams.
Hi,
what are you doing?
I'm Chris Williams. You might have heard of Refrigerator Perry. I'm Revolving Door Chris. I mean, seriously.
Oh, it's brutal.
He's terrible.
It's brutal. Well, and I was talking to a guy at work today and back and forth, and we thought that if they did make a change, if Karimi's not coming back yet and Lance Lewis is not coming back yet, you need to take Garza out of center and you need to put him back in the guard's position. And I think he needs to go into the left guard position because he needs to calm Jamarcus Webb down from jumping early and getting false start. Right. False start. Right. False start.
Well, but you know what would really help? What would really help the Bears offense is if the fans would shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
stop.
Wait, on your
yelling.
home turf, you get delay of game. On your home turf,
you're the home team. You're
delay of game.
I mean, you've seen an Indianapolis Colts game in Indianapolis, correct?
Right.
On TV.
Yeah.
You ever notice when Peyton Manning lines up at center, the crowd is silent.
Oh yeah.
You hear the play calls from Peyton Manning clear as
we saw it
bell.
In the Saints game.
Right.
Saints fans.
Right.
Hey, Drew Brees is on the field.
Oh, shh. Quiet. Hey, Drew was trying to quiet. Shut up.
Oh, Bears, Jay's on the field.
Jay, I love you. Have my baby.
Right.
I'm a dumb motherfucker. And then, of course, you get the meatballs. I got the right to yell. You can't tell me to shut up. I'm stupid and ignorant.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And apparently, Soldier Field must be that loud that you can get Aaron Rodgers to do delay of game.
Twice.
So, hey, guys, let's use that to our advantage like all the other teams do.
Right.
It's shut up when our offense is on.
Well, and that was the thing that kind of pissed me off about yesterday's game. The ground crew did their job by putting that metal spike and hoping Aaron Rodgers was going to fall on it.
Hey, watch this, guys.
Look, Mike Carey's never going to find this. Son of a bitch, he found it.
Look, it was like a needle in a haystack.
God damn it.
Damn it.
Leave it to the blacks. The beloved dropped 2 in a row to 2 high-powered offenses. And they've got Carolina next week.
Yeah, I was looking at the schedule and I was looking at the next 4 games.
Yeah, wait. Mr. 5-2, you were looking at the schedule.
Yeah. Now listen, hey, everybody's allowed to make mistakes and change and do what they need to do.
Yeah.
You got Carolina, Detroit, Minnesota, and then Tampa Bay and London.
Thank God you got Minnesota in there.
Out of those 4 games,
Yeah.
the 2 games I'm worried about, Detroit and Carolina.
Right.
Carolina, I mean...
Well, wait. You're... The Tampa Bay game you're not worried about?
The only reason why I would be slightly worried about the game is because it's played in London.
Well, wait, but never mind the fact that Atlanta, the big deal that, the Bears beat Atlanta. Ooh, so they must be good. Well, Tampa Bay just beat them.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I can't tell you.
Okay.
It's just one of those things.
No, I'm just bringing it up because I would look at that and go, okay, wait a minute. My team beat this team, and then this team got beat by that team, and my team has to play the team that beat that team, so I'm okay.
But I mean, so that's week 6.
Yeah.
Hey, Karimi might be back.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
does Karimi have a brother?
I don't know.
That the Bears can. Hey, look, can you possibly play? Please.
Hey, please.
You're killing me. So without getting much further past the Carolina game, I'm worried because apparently the only thing that can keep Cam Newton from throwing for 400 yards is rain. Because
unless Julius Peppers wants to kick it up against his old team, and if Chris Harris comes back.
That's the meatball I love.
You know what?
He's got a revenge factor. He wants to stick it to the Panther. No. I'm just saying Cam Newton, first 2 games of his NFL career, threw for 400-plus yards.
Yeah.
And he probably would have done it yesterday if not for the monsoon.
Right.
I mean, seriously, rain is the only thing that stopped Cam Newton yesterday.
Yeah, but so who's he going to throw to, though? Greg Olsen?
He threw for... Greg Olsen looked pretty good yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is it different? But is it different when you're looking at Brian Urlacher this time? From the other side of the ball?
Well, maybe, but my point is still Cam Newton threw for 400-plus yards against the Green Bay Packers and another team I can't think of right now.
Jay would have probably thrown for 400 yards against the Green Bay Packers, but he didn't have receivers to do that.
Well, you're saying Cam Newton doesn't have receivers either, and he found some way to throw for 400-plus yards. I'm just saying. I'm worried about Cam Newton.
No, I'm giving you legitimately Cam Newton is.
But to start the season, that was my first Bears win. Now, I don't think so. And they sure as shit ain't beating the Detroit Lions we saw yesterday.
No.
And they might not beat the Minnesota Vikings we saw yesterday.
Did you hear the news about Sunday's game with Detroit?
No.
Fairley makes his debut. Nick, the guy they drafted.
Oh.
So.
Great. Great. Things just keep getting better
and better.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, you know what, though? The thing that sucks about it is you could talk all day long about the Bears' offensive line and wide receivers.
Yeah.
And they're not going to do anything about it.
No. You got it.
You have a season that you're just going to have to muddle through. And
yeah, but it's a season that you knew you were going to have to muddle through. Because it's a season that everybody looked at the Packers and said this team is head and shoulders above everybody else in this division. And you as the Bears are sitting there going, well, 9-7 might be all right this season. Yeah, it might be all right for you to not have a sub-500 season. You sure as hell ain't making the playoffs at 9-7, though.
No.
You're not. Sorry.
But to be honest with you, I don't think Green Bay gets past Detroit.
I'm sorry?
I don't think Green Bay gets past Detroit.
You think Detroit's going to be the best team in this division this year? Seriously?
Yeah.
Both teams are 3-0.
Yeah.
And really?
Have you watched Detroit play?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Green Bay is a better team. See, wait. The thing that Green Bay has going for them, they've been doing this as a team now for a while. This is still kind of new territory for Detroit.
Okay.
But
they have they have Sue.
Yeah.
And Fairley. I mean, it doesn't look good for Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
And it's apparent. Okay. Hey, listen, it's apparent the Green Bay defense sucks. Because with as bad as the Bears played yesterday, and they still scored 17 on them, I mean,
yeah.
Matthew Stafford and company is a better offense than Jay Cutler and company. So
okay, but who's a better offense? Drew Brees and company or Matthew Stafford and company?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I mean,
that's a good question.
I'm just saying, you got two guys who like to sling the rock.
That's a good question.
You know,
that's a good question.
I mean, I honestly, I haven't looked ahead at the schedule. I couldn't tell you right now. I hope to God that the Detroit Green Bay game is a national game that we get to see. Do we know when that is?
I think it's going to be because I think that's the doubleheader. That's the 3/5.
But what week is that? Here.
No.
Hold on. I'm going right now. I'm going to NFL.com and I'm going to pull up.
Isn't that Monday night's game?
Dude, I really hope it is.
I think it is.
I really hope it is. Is that the first Monday night game?
Because I think Detroit gives...
Hold on.
Detroit got a ton of Monday night games this year.
I think they got like one. But
well, then that would be against the Bears.
Let's see. That's right. That is it. Green Bay at Detroit is week 12. Green Bay at Detroit. Oh, Daniel. This is fantastic. Green Bay at Detroit, November 24th. That is Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
So we do get that game on TV.
We do.
That's fantastic news. And New Year's Day, Detroit at Green Bay is on Fox. But I doubt we'd get that.
It's going to be a really sad Christmas day, though.
Oh, watching Green Bay beat the shit out of the Bears?
Again?
I mean, seriously, that's gonna be fugly. Here, let's just because Chicago plays Minnesota on New Year's Day, so we're gonna be stuck watching that garbage, watching two teams fight over scraps,
right?
See who doesn't finish in last place. Meanwhile, the division's gonna be fought in Green Bay and at Lambeau on New Year's Day to see which one of those teams is gonna be on top.
Hey, did you...
God. I can't wait for Thanksgiving. You got me excited about Turkey Day.
As a sidebar, did you see the look on Tom Brady's face yesterday?
When they lost?
When they lost? He looked like a deer caught in headlights.
He looked like a deer with his nuts caught in like a combine.
Wait, the Bills just beat us? Bills look good.
Ridiculous.
But
in other news, to get you guys going and educating yourself as fans, either go to Yahoo or go to CBS, chicago.cbslocal.com and search. I know this is going to piss some of you off. Search for Dan Bernstein's blog article about the Bears and their bad receivers. It's actually been highlighted as the Yahoo top story tonight. So take a look at that and just read it. It's fantastic. It's really nothing that we haven't talked about, and I mean Bernstein's pretty open. I mean he's a Bears fan, which makes it palatable for those of you that hate intelligent conversation, which you wouldn't be listening to this show. But just give a read to that article. It's really fantastic. In other news today, before the Monday night game, what is this, Dallas, Washington, real barn burner. ESPN Steve Young, quote, "I suspect that by the end of the year, we'll be saying Rex Grossman, top 10 quarterback," end quote. So Jay Cutler's the wrong choice. He's the third out of the three between Sexy Rexy and Kyle Orkman. I think not. But
it's tough. It's going to be a tough year.
It's tough.
It's tough.
Hard-hitting analysis. It's tough. It's bad. So speaking of hard-hitting analysis, now as some of the listeners may know, and I know as you know, next week I'm out of town.
Yes.
And I'm not going to be able to watch the Bears game with the rest of Meatball Nation. So you and Brad are going to have to... You guys are gonna have to you're gonna have to drive the sled for Santa next week because I don't think I'm gonna see much. It's gonna be a lot of highlights and
who's gonna make my sausage pizza?
What's going on with the game? I'm in the Magic Kingdom.
The sausage pizza.
I want to ride Pirates, but I also want to see this third down play.
But you know when Cam Newton dances all over him.
Oh God, you have no idea how scared I am. And you know, I'll have some Carolina Panthers fans in line with me watching a game on his Verizon phone going, another touchdown for Cam Newton. He's awesome, baby. So next week's show.
Hey, they could go completely the other way, though. Hey, Jay, first 500-yard game.
I'll take that bet. I will take that. You know what? I'll take that bet. Yeah. So next week's show is going to be predominantly Brad and Meatball Dan. I will be moderating the show to keep you guys moving and keeping the it's tough tally to a minimum. But we are looking at recording probably next Monday night, about 10:30 Eastern. So we're looking at about 9:30 Central. So hopefully we'll have that show up for you guys Tuesday morning. Just looking at the recording schedule and the way it is. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be our two favorite armchair quarterbacks slinging the bullshit next week. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns about this game or next week's Carolina Panthers tilt, feel free to contact us 847-802-9279. You can follow us on Twitter at Bears Autopsy, AUTOPSY, or bearsautopsy@gmail.com. As always, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your barber, tell whoever you want. We are looking, tonight's show will be on YouTube, just to help make it a little bit more accessible, so you can tell your friends, give them a little bit easier link instead of having to go to the governmentfromage.com site and type in government fromage and do this and a backslash and a that and a this. And so, like I said,
what is the internet?
I don't even know what it is. That damn Al Gore, that son of a bitch. I voted for Bush twice. Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add to this week's morass of a Bears game?
Just go Bears. I hope you pull something out.
Yeah. It's pretty shitty when you're in you're past week 3 and you're already going, I hope they can do something. I just hope. That's all I got left is hope in my life.
I was hopeful in the beginning of the season, but then,
You sure were.
The Bears show up.
I'm the eternal optimist. I'm Meatball Dan.
And then the Bears show up.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was a...
I mean, what do you, in all honesty, what do you do? I mean, you're 4 games away from the bye. There's nobody out there to pick up. I mean, what do you... So, you'd think
all that time and money you spent getting Jerry Angelo in to be your GM, he'd be somebody who would kind of know that same stuff too. But apparently Jerry Angelo isn't aware that players aren't just laying around waiting for a phone call. Hello, Jerry? This is Randy Moss.
What is it? Should he talk to Tim Ruskell or whatever? Hey, can you get any more people from Seattle?
Can we trade coaches?
Can you get anybody else from Seattle?
Yeah, please.
If the season continues to go this way, I would not be surprised if you don't see Mike Martz's head on a platter.
I think they've already got it on the platter. It's just they're getting ready to cook it.
Did they put the apple in his mouth yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But it's coming. All right. Well, for this week's Brad and Mike's Bears Autopsy with Brad missing once again, He is my heterosexual compadre, Meatball Dan.
Take care.
And I am your faithful, non-meatball, critical thinker, Mike.
Say a prayer for the beloved, will ya?
Until next week, go Bears.
Be sure to follow the show on Twitter at Bears Autopsy. You can friend the show on Facebook at facebook.com/Bears Autopsy. You can email the show, bearsautopsy@gmail.com. Call the show 1-847-802-9279.